back to the Safety Meeting Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Isaac Heckert. Today's very special guest, the Sarah Lawrence.
Thank you.
Welcome
Hi.
to the show. Hi.
G'day, mate.
Good day.
Yep.
Very excited to have you here. Thank you for taking the time.
No worries.
Really
It's fine
appreciate
with
it. I'm just going to check your camera real quick. Oh, you look great. Fantastic.
I feel great. You know?
Do
I dressed
you?
up. Yes.
So the through line on this show is I walk people through their life story, how they got to Hollywood, how they got into the biz, in your case, comedy. And then that
we only have an hour.
oh, well, let's get to
so
it.
long. Fuck.
You're obviously from Alabama.
Yep.
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 Hence the southern accent.
Born in 1994.
Were you really?
Nah.
You probably don't want to give away your
86.
age.
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not acting anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Are you not?
Nah.
Were you formerly?
That's what I came here for.
Yep.
Yeah, but acting sucks. I was thinking about it the other day. Like, I couldn't think of anything like, I was at a mic and I was like, oh, this is fun and I like to be here and I like to make my jokes better and whatever. I was like, I couldn't think of anything worse than going to a like a script reading whatever bullshit thing, and just like because I used to do that when I got here, and I was like, we don't really do that in Australia, but here everyone's obviously like very like anal about it and very like serious about it, and and I'm just like, oh, you guys are intense. Like,
you guys don't do table reads? You just show up and shoot?
No, not table reads. I'm saying like a casting director workshop or like a script, script intensive 101, and everyone meets on a Thursday and goes through scripts and fucking all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you have to do that here in order to XYZ. And my manager who dropped me was like, if you can promise me that you're going to go to a bunch of script, casting director workshops, then we won't drop you. And I was like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. It's not my passion anymore. You know what I mean? Plus, like, comedy's getting me further than anything ever would. If you just fucking hold on for 1 second, everything will pay off. But you're so much focused on acting, and I don't want to do that anymore. Right.
And to kind of hint back to something we were talking about off mic.
Yeah.
That's why this whole ball got started. Is I was like, oh, comics get the first key to the castle on everything, sitcoms, writing rooms, all that shit. So I was like, I'll just do that. And I'm finding out that it's much harder than, oh, I'll just go be a comic.
Yeah, of course.
So,
oh, yeah, because you got to be good, and and you got to do it. Like, it has to be your life. You can't just be like.
Because I get to see it when it's all done. Like, the cast is all there, the cameras are all set, it's all good to go. Like, let's go shoot it. And it's like, oh, well, the part that leads up to it must be super easy too. Yeah. Because I've been doing this for 15 years, so must be easy to go write an idea and then go make it a sitcom or something. And
it's also, that's the nice thing about comedy is there's no shortcuts. You can't, like, if you're an actor, I don't know if that's a nice thing or a bad thing, but like, if, you've seen like people on shows and it's like Mel Gibson's daughter or whatever, and like she got the role and she's never done anything before. I don't know why I thought of that.
So funny. That's two off mic stories.
It's like whoever's done a favor for whatever, and don't get me wrong, they're great. Like, whoever's their breakout role and it's their first thing or whatever, great. But as a comedian, you can't do that. Like, there's no fucking way.
Right.
There's no way. You have to do the work, and you have to be up every night, and you have to make it your life, and you have to like figure it out that way. You can't just be like, I'm a comic now, and those people who are so bad.
Yeah. And I'm one of them, because if you go back and listen to, I'm not asking you to do this, but if you go listen to episodes like 1, 2, or 3, I'm like, I'm going to find a shortcut. I'm not going to mic. I'm just going to be a comic.
Yeah, you told me.
I was like, oh, God. That's
guy.
out on the internet now for everybody.
Dude, there's Chris D'Elia said on his podcast one time that he was like at Starbucks or a coffee bean, whatever, and this guy came up to him and he was like, hey, man, I'm gonna, I want to be a comic or whatever. And Chris was like, cool, go and do all the things. And he was like, no, you don't get it. Like, I'm really funny. Like, I've got this stuff written, He's like, can I open for you? And Chris D'Elia was like, obviously not.
No.
And he goes, what's the shortcut? And he goes, there is no shortcut. And he goes, you have to go to mics. And he goes, nah, I don't really want to get like involved in like mics and stuff. And then he was like, you're out of your goddamn mind.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. There's no shortcut. And that's what I was telling you earlier about like my friend who, it has to be your life. And if it's not, then it's not. Also, I have another friend who's like, but I don't want it to be my life. I'm like, well, then you're not going to do it, you know? Or
no one's just going to hand you a comedy special.
Right.
I said that to a comedian about, I'd say 2 years ago. I was on a commercial, and we were just chatting between setups, and he was like, I do stand-up. I was like, oh, I'm thinking about doing stand-up. I think I'm going to do it backwards, though. I'm going to shoot my special first. And he was like, that's not how it works. And I was like,
you're like, yeah, this dude, fuck you.
I was like, well, I have access to cameramen, cameras, theaters. I can hire like 200 background, fill the theater. Like I can produce a comedy special. He's like, You sure can, buddy. You go ahead and try it.
Hey, I actually want you to do that. I want to do that. I want you to do that. Hey, dude, and you will look back. Because I was thinking about this the other day. Because I was like trying to write an hour, right? Because my new manager was like, oh, let's get you on the road and let's get you doing. She's like, how much material do you have or whatever? And I was like, I'm pretty sure. I still haven't pulled my finger out and like sat down and written it all out and figured out. That's what I'm trying to do now. It's like figure out how much time I actually have.
Sure. Are you taping your sets?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Video taping or audio?
No, just audio.
Yeah.
That's 101. That's are you taping your sets, babe? Let me give you a little pointer there.
Hey, look at me.
So yeah, she was like, I said I want to have an hour, and then obviously I'm fucking way too green to have an hour, but I think I do have an hour of material only because I go through stuff so quickly.
Yeah.
That I'm like, well, this 5 is done, this 5 is done, this 20 is done, this 15 is done. Like move on to something else, which is not necessarily the right thing to do. But I have so many things that I want to figure out which is the funniest or the quickest. And then when I like, what's the point of my story?
I have no idea.
Oh, yeah.
You want to get out on the road.
So then she's trying to book me an hour in like fucking Arizona or something. And then I told someone about it, and they were like, oh, you can't, like, you're not ready to do an hour. And I was thinking like, man, let's say I did an hour right now. Let's say I do have an hour of material. In 6 months' time, in a year's time, I'm going to look at that and be like, that's so fucking embarrassing that I did that way before I was ready. Like Brendan Schaub did his special when he'd been doing stand-up for 3 years. And he's like, oh, man, I wasn't ready to do that. I shouldn't have done that kind of thing because you put out material.
Oh, he's admitting it now? Shout out, Brandon.
Oh,
Brendan?
Maybe he didn't, but I don't know. Everyone was like annoyed as well. Not that I'm like shooting a special, but like... I even just like when I told you I was like super depressed a couple weeks ago because I was just bombing all the time and was like I suck, and I was like sitting in the bath, not dramatically, but like sitting in the bath like listening to sets, and I was just like, even from like 3 months ago, and I was like, this is not funny, this fucking sucks, you're fucking shitty, this and this and this is, and then they say that you should look back on your material from 6 months ago and go like, this sucks, this is not funny, because you're trying to get better and you should be getting better, and so I want you to write a special and then wait 6 months and then watch it and be like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Yeah. And I want you to, and I will be in the background. You don't have to pay me anything. Okay. I want to be in the background.
You could be in the control room.
So funny. Yeah. And I'll be like, God, that was hilarious. Move on.
You can direct it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You're directing my comedy special.
Fuck yeah.
Awesome. What, oh wow. Did you ever dip?
No. Gross. No, I learned that. You learn it. You have to wet your fingers. It's easy to learn no. So you're going to hold on like this. Yeah. And then this is going to slap back and forth.
Well, normally there'd be a can of dip there. I can't do it.
All right.
I mean, I'm from the South. We dip all the time. I have a can of dip in.
Ew.
Yeah. Well, I quit smoking because last time I smoked a cigarette, someone said, you smell like shit.
Was that me?
Uh-huh.
As I'm like sharing it with you, like, hey, this smells like shit.
I smell great. You smell like shit.
I smell like shit. But if I'm that drunk to have a cigarette, I make sure that I'm like, power walking away from the smoke, because I'm so like accustomed to that smell. I fucking hate it so much. But I think when you're a smoker, you don't realize. I have a friend and he goes and smokes and then comes back. I'm like, that your entire aura smells like shit right now. Like I can smell you coming from a mile away.
That's one of the main reasons why I want to quit.
Yeah.
Well, and it's killing me.
Yeah.
It's been 20 years.
That's insane.
I've done everything you can do as a smoker, so now I want to try everything that you can do as a non-smoker.
What do you mean everything you can do as a smoker? Like smoke it out your butt? What do you mean?
No, I mean like smoke after meals and go. I've smoked here. I've smoked while I've been driving. I've smoked on my balcony. Like I've smoked.
That's what?
No, I've lived a life as a smoker. Now I want to live a life as a non-smoker.
I've smoked on my balcony. I've smoked in the car. I've done what you can do. Hey, don't use that as a bit.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
After this, shoot yourself. Okay, got it.
I have a nice sturdy rope in my car. If that's an option.
Yeah. Have you got a tow hitch on the back? Can we
No. Oh, you want me to drag you behind the car?
Drag me right out into that street out there.
But I think it'd be more classic if we did it with a horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
4 and then
4 like a chariot. And I'm just on the chariot, like yeah.
Right. That'd be hilarious.
Right, carry on.
Great.
Is that me or you? Why is it coming through the speakers?
Because my phone is connected to the roadcast.
God damn it, Isaac. Like,
I'm new. This is only episode 37.
This is crazy. Someone just did a podcast and they said that they recorded 30 episodes together and then just threw them out just to be like, when they start, they're ready. You know what I mean? Because, you know, when you're first starting and you're just, like, figuring it out. By the way, if anyone can see on the camera, he's not actually paying attention or looking at me right now. He's just checking his phone.
Is Sarah still here, everybody?
Yeah, so they threw out the first 30 episodes. They literally recorded them back to back to back and just threw them out because they were like, we need to figure out how it works first so that we can put something.
30.
I think it was 30, yeah.
Were they
it was
hour-long
insane.
episodes?
Yeah, it was something
Do I know this
crazy
person?
like that. I think it was like Gabby or someone.
Really?
Not Gabby. No, someone like that. Someone who I know. Like, I don't remember. But it was like a big number, and I was like, fuck, man, that's dedication. But they had like a proper, like, they have like a manager. Maybe it was Vanessa. No, I don't know. Anyways.
She's got producers and stuff. You're very funny on her show.
Oh, thanks.
I've only listened to one episode of her show that you're not on because you're on twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard both of your episodes on there.
Nice.
Then I tried it without you, and I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I dated a guy, and he was like, he had dated her, and then he saw me on the thing, and then I like popped up on Bumble or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it was fucking very random, and I was like, you.
Not her new Vegas guy.
No.
Is he still around?
Yeah.
Are they
They're
still
super
together?
in love. Oh my god.
Oh, that's awesome.
Super in love.
That's
Crazy. Cool. I didn't think it could happen.
I met her and Laurie Douglas at the
Nice.
same time at the Haha.
Nice.
When my second night shooting pictures. I go to the Haha, start shooting pics. At the end, they're sitting at a table together. I walk up and I'm like, "Hey guys, my name is Isaac." And shook their hands. It's like, who shakes hands anymore?
Me. You should.
Cool. Yes. Thank you.
You should also stand up when someone's shaking your hand. That's the fucking polite thing to do.
You should stand up when a woman walks in the room too.
It might be a bit creepy, but
You should walk on the street side.
yeah, walk on the street side. I didn't learn that until I got here.
Yeah, that's an old one.
Dudes in Australia don't do that. They're like, fucking, you'll be fine.
Right.
You know?
Gentleman goes down the stairs first.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if a lady falls, you can catch her.
Interesting. I like that. Too.
So I'm just like, hey, I shot your set tonight, and I'm gonna send you pictures and whatever. Checking. And as I'm walking away, they start giggling, and I was like, oh, that didn't go very well. And I don't know. See, this is the other thing about my joke writing, like, and my storytelling. I'll tell a story,
and then you're
and
like,
then that's
there's
it.
no point.
That's the end of that story.
Right.
Cool. Cool story, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I had a point.
You will, but that's another thing that you will get more from going on stage.
Yeah.
And you also might say less things. Because also, like, another thing that you do when you're around comics a lot is you'll hear someone who's, like, not a comic tell you a story, but like, yeah, on Tuesday, da, 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 da. And then the two comics are, like, looking at each other across the table like, this could be cut down so much. You know what I mean? Like, you're saying too many words.
Right.
Get to the punch.
Word
you know what
efficiency.
I mean? Like, you're like, on Tuesday, I went to Subway and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, fuck, one time my mum came to visit and she was like, we were sitting at Carney's on, like, potluck. And it was the coolest shit ever. And my mum was like, do you guys want to hear a joke? And all the comics like, fuck yeah. So my mom's like sitting there telling a joke. And I'm like, Mom, you... And then, like, when she pulled out the big punch, I was like, Mom, you fucked up the punchline. You were the one who told me this joke and you got the punchline right first. And she was like, no, don't be stupid. I was like, no, man, nobody laughed. You didn't get the punchline correct. You know, it was supposed to be this pow and you danced around it for so long because you were trying to build it up. And then you built it up to nothing. Yeah. And everyone's kind of like, oh, she sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first joke on my birthday show, I didn't remember the word of the punchline.
Oh, no. What's the joke?
I don't even remember the joke now. Oh,
what?
No. It was about getting a Netflix deal.
Oh, God.
I was like, guys, I got a deal at Netflix today. And the punchline is that I got a restraining order. The deal was that we settled on 300 or 400 feet or something like that. I couldn't remember the word restraining order. And I was standing there on the mic, all my friends, it's my 40th birthday. And I'm like, guys, I know this sucks for you. And you're like, kind of like, oh, that sucks for you. You feel embarrassed for me that I can't remember the word. But I'm going to sit in this moment until I remember this word. And I'm not embarrassed. Like, I don't care. I can stand up here all fucking night. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to pursue comedy, because I don't feel the bomb. Like, I don't feel that thing that you're supposed to feel when you're embarrassing yourself.
It's not necessarily embarrassment. It's just like, because I mean, I did. I don't anymore as much. I mean, I do when I fucking bomb at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. Comedy Store in La Jolla. That was fucking horrible, and that was what started my, like, downward spiral of, like, just bombing every show. But it's not about being embarrassed. It's just about, like, oh, I'm not good. I shouldn't do this. This is not for me.
Right.
My writing sucks. I wasn't prepared. I was this. I was that. But I used to bomb and then, like, go home and fucking cry. And everybody has. You go home, you're crying in your car. You go home, you cry, and you're like, I shouldn't do this. I don't do that anymore, except I did that a couple months ago. I bombed at the Improv so hard and I cried and then booked a spot somehow. But yeah, it's not about being embarrassed. It's just about like, it sucks. Like it sucks because you're like, oh, I thought this was a good joke, or I thought that I was a good comic, or I thought this, and then your entire life comes into question kind of thing. And you're like, well, what the fuck am I doing here? I can't even make these couple of people laugh, you know?
My concerns are more of like, am I a psychopath? Am I fucking crazy? Because I still want to do it. And I still think I could be good at it. So
but you just listed before we started that all of the things why you wouldn't be good at it, because you can't write and you don't think that way and blah, blah, blah.
100%.
Right.
Some of that's fuel to try it again and to keep going.
Well, isn't that also fuel to make an excuse if you don't?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm riding both sides.
That's right.
100%.
Right.
So I feel situationally funny. Like I feel like on one-on-one I can make my mom laugh a lot, or other people that I'm hanging out with. But some of my funny is I'm so not funny that I got to come up with a way to get out of situational embarrassment. So like now I should come up with some.
No, what do you mean?
So like if I'm telling a story and it doesn't have a funny ending, then like in the moment I'll try and come up with a punch
ultimately
out.
You're just digging yourself a deeper hole.
Yeah. Probably. Because I'll just go until I at least get a pity laugh, and then I'll know when to quit.
Why don't you do a class?
It's a good question.
So that's when I did it, because everyone, like, there's like mixed reviews on classes, but it's the same as like, so if you're an actor, you're going to class all the time. You're going to comedy workshops, you're fucking doing this, you're doing that, you're going to class, you're training.
Right.
That's not necessarily what class is for comedy, but doing mics is training. And that's why I was so bad the other week, because I wasn't training. I was so busy that I was just doing shows and like every other night, and I wasn't, you know, I wasn't in the gym working in order to do the competition.
Exactly.
Sort of thing. But actors, you know, quote unquote, train all the time. So before I started comedy at all, I did a class, and that was what taught me to write and to have, because again, I had a funny idea or a funny story or whatever, but I never had a punchline. That was always my problem. Still is kind of my problem. Like, I don't have punchlines. I just have like a funny story that gets a kind of thing, but I don't have an ending.
Right.
So the class teaches you different, which is also what you've probably been reading about maybe not the psychology, but this gives you like 7 joke structures.
Right.
You know, the bait and switch and the this and the that. And every weekend you come in and you say your rule of threes and you say this and you do that and you learn them that way. I still don't get me wrong, I don't have any rule of threes. I don't have any bait and switch. I don't have any of that kind of shit. All I have is like stories and just my personality, whatever.
Right.
But it taught me to be like, oh, this particular thing, move the mic stand, don't hold this, don't ever say give it up for me for this, that's fucking annoying, don't, you know, just like little things that make you more confident on stage, little things that make you a better writer, little things that make you understand it slightly more,
right,
than just going in blind and getting on stage and being like, dude, even after the class, the first time I got on stage I was like, there's just bomb city, no stroke, like just I couldn't imagine if I went on stage without having done like, it would have just been a nightmare. I would have just had an idea of a story, and I still have one story that like has no punchline, but I just think it's funny.
Right. Do you do a lot of things that are funny for you, whether or not they're funny for them?
That's another hard. I write down every single thing that happens. I write it down. If right now we have a funny thing, I'll write it down. It's up to the audience when I do it later if it's funny for them or not. Obviously sometimes it's only funny for you and me because we're in this situation and that's happened a bunch of times. I've got up on stage and then been like, fuck, you probably kind of had to be there.
Right.
But you can't figure it out until you do it. Because there's other stories. All my stories are true to life things that actually happen. So they have happened with other people there or whatever. And some of them are fucking hilarious, but some of them you had to be there, but you can't discern which is which until you actually do it. And it might be my writing. It might, because I don't write. Some people like write a whole joke and a whole idea before they get up on stage, and then they'll go up and they'll just recite the speech. I go up with like 2 words, like, you know, Italian guy, and then I go up and I go, oh, this fucking Italian guy, da, 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 da. Right. And then when I go back and listen to the recording, I'm like, oh, the punch is here and this and that, and then I may go back in and then write it properly. That's what I'm trying to do now. Is I'm trying to be better with writing and like actually go through it and write a joke in its entirety. Yeah. But yeah, you can't figure it out until you know. And there's a bunch of ideas in my phone that are just like awful, and I'm like, what even? This is not a joke. Right. Hilarious at the time.
Yeah. Do you ever look back at your notes and go like,
what was that?
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
All the time.
So here, about the class thing. Here's a little. This could be best idea ever or worst idea ever. So, Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer have a podcast called 2 Bears, 1 Cave. You know who they are?
Yeah.
They got on a rant about comedy classes one day, and Bert says, God.
Oh, wow.
Damn it.
Wow,
that's
this
my
guy.
other Australian friend
Oh,
calling from Australia. She's probably on fire.
She's like, save me. Like, I'm on a podcast, babe. I can't.
Undo the Bluetooth. That won't happen again. Sorry, folks at home.
It's funny that you didn't do it last time. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's weird that when the phone was ringing through the podcast last time, you didn't put it on.
Yeah.
Do not disturb. You know, it's just weird that you would let it happen twice. It's fine.
Right. That is weird.
Cool. All right, so Boat Crasher.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm editing this.
Are you?
It's gonna be seamless. It's gonna look. I'm
gonna
look
awesome.
awesome.
There's no need to edit this. This is fucking. So you just put like a party hat on.
I always say I'm gonna edit shit, and I never do because I'm super lazy later.
There's no need.
So Tom and Bert, Two Bears One Cave. Bert goes, "Hey, if you're paying $5,000 for a comedy class, I think they were talking about this one specific class.
That's too much, but yeah.
It is a little. It's a little high, right? I guess I haven't priced out comedy classes.
Like 500 max.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, Bert says if you have $5,000 and you're a new comic and you're about to take a class, email me and I'll take you on tour for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yep.
And I super wanted to take him up on it.
You should.
Well, I'm trying to get to him. He hasn't really responded to my emails yet.
You should try and figure out who his manager is.
Well, I know his podcast producer.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through
Has
Halston.
he replied or he hasn't?
I hope Halston's not watching this. No, Halston's going to take a tour of the studio because he might produce some other shows here.
Great.
So, Halston, I'm using you to get to Bert. Cutting that out.
You don't need to cut that out.
No.
That's fine.
He knows. I mean,
Yeah,
why
exactly.
else would I? Yeah. So.
No, that's yeah. Also, I want to know whose class that is. That's way too much.
They were. I'll find it and I'll look it up.
Yeah.
It was a specific dude that
Okay.
was like out of Burbank, just like robbing people.
Really?
Yeah. They were
That's
like
crazy.
This fucking same dude is charging people $5,000. I think it was like a 6-week course or something. How long are comedy classes?
Mine was 8, but they can. I have a friend doing one. Goes for 5 or 6, I think, and they did their show at the Improv. It's also like, this is what I mean about the drop-off rate. Is like, you're gonna do the comedy class. You're gonna have this newfound passion for. By the way, when I did I did the class twice because I was like, oh fuck, I have nothing to do on a Tuesday morning. I may as well do it again. And she goes, hands up, who wants to actually be a comedian? And I'm the only one in the class who puts my hand up. Everyone else is just there for like, you know, gaining confidence in public speaking or even just like having a little like couple of jokes to like tell your friends or whatever.
Right.
You
Want
know,
to be funny at parties.
Right. So there's that kind of thing, and I'm like, I'll never see these girls again, sort of thing. But
is this Pretty Funny Women?
This is Pretty Funny Women.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there was one girl. So I teach the class now, and there was one girl, and she came in, and she was fucking terrified, and she in class, like, she couldn't even stand on stage, and we had to force her to like stay up there. And then by the end of the 8 weeks, she does the graduation show. She fucking ran the light by 2 minutes. I was like, bitch, you did 7 minutes. Like, you didn't even want to get off stage. You didn't even want to get up on stage eight weeks ago. This is incredible.
And now you don't want to get off stage.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's amazing for you. I'm so happy. And I was a part of that and whatever. Like, she's certainly not going to be she doesn't want to be a comedian. But now she has that confidence just in her actual life to go to a party and be like, hey, what's up? My name's Sarah. You know, not just be like, I don't know what to say, you know?
Right.
So,
Do you know people that are like generally shy in real life but get on stage and they just shine? Do you know anybody like that that's a comedian?
sort of, maybe, but they're only shy within different circles. I think within their own circles they're probably hilarious or whatever. I can think of a couple. It's not that. I don't know. Also, do you know Keith Kelly?
Maybe.
Anyway, I've never seen him like speak, sort of thing.
Oh,
and then
really?
he gets on stage and he's super awkward on stage, but he's fucking hilarious.
Oh, it's funny, awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's different brands of comedy as well. Like my
Sure.
brand is not going to be getting on stage and being like, "Oh, I'm shy in public situations," you know.
Right.
But someone who just like sits in the corner might have some brilliant whatever, but also it's going to be harder for them to book shows or to progress because they're not out there talking to people and they don't.
Right.
You know. So yeah. What was I talking about with the class? Oh.
Classes. You took it twice. Pretty Funny Women. Now you're teaching it.
The second time I took it, what was the point? I forgot what the point was.
That one chick ran the light. Now
No, it was
she's going to
before
parties.
that. It was before that. You said how long is the class? Oh, this improv class. Okay, so there's another class, and you do your graduation show at the Improv, and it goes for like 6 weeks, I think. And the thing about like doing the classes is this is what I was talking about when we're off air, is it gives you an unrealistic expectation of how good you are. because at the end of the 6 weeks, you have a newfound passion for this. You're like, I'm going to do comedy. This is great.
Right.
I met my people.
Right.
These 12 people in this class, they fucking get it. And you're hanging out for a bit and rah. But ultimately and inevitably, that kind of drops off and you lose the passion for it and you start doing something else and life gets in the way and whatever. So it really weeds out those people who like really want to fucking do it to the people who don't. And when you do these graduation classes, it's your friends and family there. So it's the best show you're ever going to have.
Yeah.
So like these graduation shows, a lot of them I host and I'm like much more advanced than these girls, but I do the worst because nobody knows me, right?
Sure.
So I don't have any friends and family in there and I'm hosting and whatever. But, you know, the one chick who brings 40 people, she fucking destroys the room.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so then she goes, oh, man, I'm amazing. I'm going to do this. And then goes to a mic and goes, oh, that was horrible, you know, or like doesn't want to drive to Palm Springs for, 20 minutes of stage time or it doesn't, because again, this is like ancillary to like what they're actually doing in their real life. They work in a bank or whatever, and this is their hobby, which is fine. But
sure. You got to have some kind of job until comedy pays off, right?
Right. Which is, yeah.
How many years do you think, do you think it's a 10-year path? Do you think it's a 15-year path? Like, people have varying opinions on like, oh, you can't be a comic until you're really doing it for 47 years. And
I mean, I agree to some extent, but also there's not outliers, but there's people always say things. Right. People always say this, you can't do that, and you can't do that. I went to a workshop with Molly Shannon, and Molly Shannon was saying that every avenue that she, like when she like moved to Hollywood, every single person was like, hey, you have to do this and you have to do it like that and you can't do this and no one's gonna give you this and no one's gonna give you that. And to every single one of those people, she was like, fuck you, I'm doing it. Right. And that's kind of how I feel as well. Like that's what I've done throughout my entire life. Like, you tell me that I can't do this, but fuck you, I know that I can. Right.
I'm gonna do it some other way.
But someone else might not be able to do that.
Exactly.
So again, if you do have the talent but you don't have the networking skills or you're not going out and you're not meeting people, then how are you going to get booked on a show? Exactly. I'm getting booked on a show. Like I went to a mic the other night, missed the fucking bucket, ran into a comic as I was leaving and like pissed, and he was like, hey, can you do my show on Tuesday? And I was like, yeah, fucking sweet. Yeah. But he wouldn't have done that to the person who he doesn't know. Sure. So it's easier for me in the sense that I have a more personable whatever. Right. Plus I started late, so I essentially have more things to talk about, more confidence, more whatever. I don't have to, flounder on stage for 3 years while I'm 18 going, oh, I got a pimple, Right. I don't necessarily have, it's not the same path for anyone. But yes, I think that in order to be taken seriously and in order to get good enough, yes, it needs to be like years and years and years and years. But it also is annoying when people are like, oh, you've been doing it for 6 years, like you're just a baby, and you're like, well,
6 years of doing it every night is 20 years of doing it once a week.
Right, but doing it once a week is not anything. Yeah. Like people, even when they go like, oh, I've been, this guy, the New Year's resolution guy who I said, who came into Fourth Wall. There was 4 New Year's resolution people who came into Fourth Wall on January 4th, and was like, I could hear them talking, and he was like, hey. He's like, hey, bro, what do you nervous? Sitting next, I'm so glad they sat next to me. He's like, bro, you nervous? And he's like, no, man, he's like, I got some pretty sweet material, you know what I mean? Like, I used to, I'm just trying to, get back into the groove of it. And I was like, man, you did it, twice, right. 3 years ago kind of thing. And then he got up and he was fucking terrible. And his friend was like, oh, this is hilarious. And they're, filming each other. And I'm just like, but again, you'll figure it out. You'll figure out soon that you're not good, or you don't want to, or you don't want to put the work in, or whatever. Right. I
just absolutely hate being bad at stuff.
Same.
Absolutely. It drives me nuts. If I do something, I want to be so good at it.
Well, and what's the point in doing it if you're not the best? Right. Unless it's a hobby, fine. But yeah, why would I want to be the second best basketball player? Or why would I want to be the fourth place? 100%. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing that I was running into when I was out taking pictures. People are like, oh my God, are you this dude? Are you whatever? And I'm like, nope, this is my hobby. Like I shot the goddamn comedy jam for what's his name? Oh, nice. Adam. Yeah. Josh Adam Myers. Jonathan Rhys Myers. Do you know who that is? What a dated reference. Do you know who that is? Dude, nobody's gonna know who that is. Okay. That's when hilarious. I was a PA 10 years ago, I had to drive him around for 2 weeks on a Hugo Boss commercial. It was so awesome. Anyway, glad you got that reference. So you were shooting for...
I hit him up one night. I think it was Mark Maron was headlining or whatever. It was awesome. Tony Hinchcliffe was there. Cool. Name drop. And I shot, and I was like, all right, dude, I just want to say thank you very much for letting me shoot. He's like, no, let me take care of you. And I was like, no, I don't want any money. And he's like, no, I have to give you some money. I was like, dude, if you give me money, then this isn't a thing. Like, this isn't me doing what I love. This is you paying me. And,
right.
And he's like, no, I want to give you this money, and then we're going to be friends, and it's going to be great. And I'm like, we're not going to be, if you give me
the money, then we're not friends.
We're not friends.
This
is a transaction, and then you're going to look at me like a vendor.
Right.
And he's like, no, it's going to be great. And he pulls $40 out of his pocket.
Oh, no.
And I was like,
oh,
cool.
No.
It was like, I should have stuck to my guns, but at some point I was like,
but you don't want to be rude, and then you finally get to the point where you're like, maybe it's $500.
I did get to the point. I was like, Josh, how long are we going to do this before like one of us has to go?
Yeah.
He's like, I'll stand here all night, but you're getting this money. And I was like,
$40
we're both super stubborn, dude. Like, I don't want this.
Furious.
And and then I was like, can I shoot another one?
He's like, who are you?
No, because Matty Misco Studios or whatever, never met that guy. Mm-hmm. Super awesome comic photographer. He's got a studio in Santa Monica. Mm-hmm. He's super good friends with him. He shoots all that stuff, just like Troy shoots at the store. Mm-hmm. And I even hit Troy up when I first started shooting. I was like, hey, dude, just out of respect, just want you to know I'm on the scene, but I'm not gunning for your shit.
Great.
Just want to meet comics. That's the only reason I'm doing it. And then anytime a comic wants some pictures, I'm like, dude, it's on me.
Yep.
I just want to do this as a hobby. Where am I going with this? It was pretty much the point of, God damn it! I totally lost it. I'm sorry.
Wait, Josh Animai's of doing it because you love it, and
doing it because you love it, and I wanted to be like super good at it. Mm-hmm. So like my years of shooting rock and roll bands live, I already knew how to expose for it, and like I could get it done. And I personally love black and white. So everybody's like, "Oh, you're just copying Troy because he always shoots in black and white." I'm like, no, like great photography throughout the history of entertainment has always been black and white because it's just like the truest. Granular form of photography. But then people were like, oh, you're just fucking doing it to be like Troy. And I was like, okay. And then 6 other people just popped on the scene out of nowhere. You probably know exactly who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to call anybody with a number on their Instagram.
Can you write that down? So I want to hear that also. I love that guy.
Yeah, I've never met him. I'm sure he's a great guy.
Great photographer.
Exactly. I love his photography. If I ever meet him.
Did he pop out of nowhere?
I did.
Did he?
Maybe.
I don't think he did.
Did he not?
I've been seeing his photos for fucking ages.
Longer than a year? Who cares? It's not a contest. Yeah. I'm not trying to do what him and Maddie are trying to do.
Imagine if every time a new comic was out, I was like, you fucking see this guy?
Right. But that wasn't the whole point. Right. I was starting to get compared to people that I didn't want to get compared to.
That's annoying, yeah.
And it was like, dude, I'm not here.
But also, I'm doing it for the love of fucking doing it and to get better into whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was doing it because I love taking pictures of people, and I love being at comedy shows for free. It's awesome. I love to shoot, love to go to comedy shows, love to be friends with comics. This thing gets me in the door. Right. Met the manager from the Improv, met the manager from Haha. Yep. Not that matters. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. We got to cut that out for sure.
Well, which team are you on, senior or junior?
I don't know who they are.
Off mic story number 3.
But that's the point. Is you have this is what so with my company, like I'm doing shit for free. I'm out there. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. It's the same with comedy too, because you're meeting people and you're getting things this way and and there's other people like, oh, I would never do this for less than whatever, and you're like, oh, that's not how it works, and you're not going to get anywhere doing that.
Right.
And you're not going to drive to Palm Springs for 20 minutes of stage time. No, you're like, oh, how much are you getting paid? Oh, you think I'm getting paid?
Right.
Oh. Oh no! And then they're like, "Well, I'm not doing it." Then I'm like, "Well, then bye. You're not going to be doing this for long at all." I've almost
driven to Palm Springs just to shoot sets.
Yeah, right.
Because I think some of you guys are actually fucking funny.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know where that's all going. I think that ties itself into some of my cheat code of how I was gonna like skip the system. I was gonna network harder than everybody else. I was gonna be out there taking pictures. If you want me to open for you, then I'll shoot video and stills on the road, and I'll cut something on the plane.
But it doesn't. But that's a cheat way and a shortcut. Yes, but you also have to be a good comic. You can't spend all of your time cheating your way doing photography and not doing stand up.
Absolutely.
No one's gonna go, hey, open for me.
Right.
When you're like, I've done one open mic. You know what I mean? But I've got all these photos, dude.
Yeah. But when you're driving to the club, that's what you're fantasizing about.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna take such a sweet picture
that they'll be like, hey, photographer, open for me.
And you're the funniest photographer I've ever met.
Dude, hey, photographer, build me a boat.
Joe Joe Rogan's just gonna be like, "Hey, you seem like you might be funny.
Right.
Why don't you open for me?"
Hey, that's a really good photo. You seem funny. You want to open for me in Arkansas next week?
Oh, I have a Joe Rogan off mic story.
Also, I'm gonna have to do 2 podcasts. This one will be all comic related, and then the next one will be about
Your life story.
my life story.
Well, we're 35 in.
Oh, we're 35 in. Okay.
Yeah, this is about the time that everybody turns it off anyway. Do you want to tell your life story? Where were you born?
Oh, God. Perth, Australia.
Yeah, which side is that on? I'm not familiar.
Left, the one that's not on fire.
Yeah. Because if you look at social media right now, they just take a map of Australia and they light the whole thing on fire.
I mean, the
like,
whole thing's pretty much on fire.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's pretty bad.
But the whole thing can't possibly be.
Have you seen the numbers?
Yeah.
So basically, Australia and America are like the same size.
Mm-hmm.
So we're fortunate in that we only really live around the coast. Nobody really lives in the middle. But if this fire was happening in America,
Right.
fucking hundreds of thousands of people would be dead.
Yeah.
Like states and states and states would be done. So that's how you got to think of it. It's just that we don't populate the middle of Australia as much as
Right.
you guys do. So
it's 100 million degrees.
well, I actually looked at it because I was talking about like Vegas, because Vegas gets fucking hot. And I was looking and I was like, well, how hot is Vegas compared to the middle of Australia? And I looked it up and I was like, it's the same. But we were just like, no, we're not going to live. It's probably too hot. Let's stay near the beach.
Yeah.
You know, but you guys were like, let's fucking build a casino and live in Vegas. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that we also don't have that many people, I'm sure, if the whole country doesn't burn down, you know, in 200 years or whatever, people will be living there. But
Oh, yeah.
why would we live there when we can live next to the beach? You know.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah, it's the same. It's the same.
It's
the same
technically a desert here. We just pipe our water in. from
right. It's
Bama.
Vegas is a fucking desert. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. But
Totally.
but we just choose not to live there.
Did you used to work in Vegas?
No. Why?
Were you a DJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why do you think I used to work in Vegas? Because I have all the Vegas knowledge.
No, because it's just from your social media. I thought you DJ'd.
I DJ'd a couple of times in Vegas. Yes.
Oh, I thought you had a residency.
No, that would have been fucking great. No.
Yeah. I also used to stay at because I think you played Win or Encore.
Yeah, I played it on.
That's where I stay when I go to Vegas.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Cool. Well, now I stay at Cosmo because things happened at Win and Encore.
Okay, well, you can't. Well, okay, this is a problem. You can't do that. Or you can, okay,
Like-
so this entire podcast is just all secret.
There's some shit I just don't want in there. I probably shouldn't have a podcast. Especially
You should. There's a podcast called. Do you know? So Mark Normand and Joe List have a podcast called Tuesdays with Stories.
Mhm.
Fucking hilarious. Every single one of their shows should be they should be cancelled for every single one of their shows.
Oh,
But
yeah.
because it's consistent, it's not just like they did 6 years of podcasts and then said something racist about an Asian guy or whatever.
Right.
It's like every single one of their fucking podcasts is horrendous
Mhm.
that it doesn't matter anymore. Like they
Yeah.
can't get you know what I mean? That's what I'm kind of.
Can
like,
you tell them apart if you're just listening?
I can now, but not in the intro where he goes Mark Norman and Joe List. I always thought it was the other way around, but then the other guy said, and I was like, ah. But yes, when they're talking on the podcast, but
to
they're
me,
fucking love them.
They're identical voices, inflection,
Yeah.
word choices. I can't tell them apart.
Fucking love them.
Yeah.
Once you start, I've listened to I think 200 now,
Mhm.
just in the past couple of months since I found it, like just like on repeat.
Yeah, I need a new one. I'm gonna check that out.
But it's so fucking fun. Yeah, so yeah, now I can tell them apart. But yeah, so Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas. Did you? Okay, this we should have pulled this into some kind of like linear story. But how long did the DJ thing bring you to? How long were you DJing? Were you doing it full time?
Yes, I was DJing full time for like 6 years, maybe. The DJ thing allowed me. I've kind of wandered around the earth, like a bit of a soldier of fortune, right? So the DJ thing didn't necessarily bring me here, but it did bring me to Dubai, which got me enough money to pay to get here, which gave me a visa for here, that kind of thing. So
Sure.
even though when I got here, I couldn't DJ anymore because everyone's just fucking, wearing nipple tassels and playing R&B, which is not my style, obviously. So I just kind of like fell away from doing that, started my company, and that took just a completely different turn. But yeah, so it's all, it's like everything happens for a reason. Like it's just like all on my path, and like, you know what I mean? Like everything's like brought me to this moment here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel like people say the same stupid shit about like out of nowhere becoming a DJ and out of nowhere becoming a comic?
So here's the thing. I became a DJ out of nowhere. This is what I mean when people say, so there's anomalies in things, right? So when I started DJing, my boyfriend at the time was a DJ, and I was like, I'm going to be a DJ. And he was like, he's like, no, you're not. And I was like, oh, fucking watch me. And I'm not saying this is the right way to go. And this sounds really bad, but I just started telling everybody that I was a DJ before I was. So I was working in this bar, just having a terrible time and like just working so much. And also my boyfriend at the time, this guy had, so he was Australian as well. We were living in London, and then he moved back to Australia. His visa ran out. I moved to England with a British guy, broke up with him, met an Australian guy. The Australian guy's visa ran out. So then he moved back, and now I'm in London by myself, working in the same bar that I was working with the Australian guy who left. So I was going into work every day, crying, remembering he used to stand there and we used to do this. And every time this song came on, I would tell the DJ, like, please don't play this one song because it makes me cry. And then he played it and I was like, started bawling. I was like, no. And then he like turns it off. Yeah. It was a horrible time.
Yeah.
So I'm in this long distance relationship with this guy in Australia. And one day we're like on Skype and I was like, hey, I think I'm going to be a DJ because I was at my bar making zero money, just hating my life. And like, I just looked over at the DJ and I was like, this fucking guy is working less than me. He's making 6 times what I'm making. And he rolls in and he rolls out and I'm still here making fucking vodka sodas for these cunts.
Right.
And so I told him, I was like, I think I'm going to start DJing. And he was like, you can't do that. Little bit of I think jealousy as well because he was doing that and didn't have the moxie or whatever to take off with it, sort of thing.
Oh, so he hadn't quite hit a level where he was
maybe
where he wanted to be.
Yeah, it's like if I have a boyfriend now who's like, I'm gonna try stand up, I'd be like, oh, fuck off, I'd be annoyed as well, so I get it.
Yeah.
But at the time I was kind of like, oh, fuck you, watch me.
If he was trying it to come at it from a place of trying to understand you better, would you appreciate that?
No, that's not. What do you mean? That's not a thing.
I'm not articulating this well. If he was like, oh, I kind of want to know what she's going through every night that she goes up there.
Nobody does that. That's not a thing.
That's not. Nobody has empathy.
My ex was like, I would never get on stage, never ever, couldn't, not in a million years. And that's great.
Yeah.
No one's gonna be like, let me get on stage and try and like understand what you're going through and like let me like walk this path with you. Like that's not unless you wanted to do it, unless you wanted. There's also like, don't get me wrong, fucking Marvelous Miss Maisel, which I think is dumb. Her husband's doing comedy and then they break up and then she starts doing comedy. So I think there is that kind of, if you're with someone, you kind of think, you go like, I wonder what that,
sure,
and same with, I had a friend and she had a boyfriend who was a DJ and he was DJing for like they were together for like 10 years and she never even wanted to like learn or, it's like, that's your thing. And then they broke up and now she's a DJ. Okay. So it's like, there's that I'm kind of annoyed, like if my ex started doing stand up, I'd be like, really, dude? Like it's kind of icky. I don't know why. I'm not trying to like steal all the whatever, but it's kind of a weird feeling. And like I said, I have a friend now who's kind of, doesn't matter. So I started telling everyone in this bar that I was a DJ. So we were on this strip with all these other bars. And
in London?
Yeah, in London. And all these like the bar owners would come in. We knew them all because we were all, we all hung out, whatever. And I'd be like, oh. It's like, I must have forgot to mention that I'm a DJ, right?
This one's on me, by the way.
Right, literally, because I was like, I have a perfect opportunity right here. I know all these fucking club owners. Why don't I just be like, just must have forgotten to mention. Like, I was in DJ in Australia, fucking super sick. And then one of them was like, oh, can you play on Wednesday? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And, it's like a fake it till you make it kind of thing. Again, not recommending this, not saying I did the right thing. I think it sucks even saying it, whatever, but this is some people, whatever. So what I did, and it's the same thing as you going out and going, hey, I'll do this for free because you want to get your fucking foot in the door. Yeah. Or I could be like, yeah, you owe me $500. No, some people do it and some people don't do it. Some people get it, some people don't get it. So I go, I can DJ, and then he goes, can you play on Wednesday? And I went, definitely. And then I went immediately and signed up for a DJ. This is also, I think I have a thing with classes, right? So I went to a DJ class and I stood with a guy for fucking 3 hours and he taught me how to DJ. And again, you can't be an idiot. Like there was someone, I was trying to teach someone how to DJ and I was like, when I go 1, 2, 3, 4, on the 4th beat, press play. And this guy was like he just didn't have any rhythm. I was like, how do you not know that's the rhythm, right? So obviously I have like some sort of musical ability to begin with and I'm not a fucking idiot. Right. But so he teaches me how to DJ for like 3 hours, whatever. I learned on vinyl, because I wanted to make sure that I had some credibility, even though I have no credibility. It's like doing stand-up for one mic and being like, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
I was terrible. Listened back to the mix and was like, oh, it's just fucking awful, right? As you do. And I went and I did the job on the Wednesday, and I had like some customer come up to me and be like, hey, like, good try or something. And it was like, wow. Hey, I really like your song choices. Your song choices are fucking great. You know, you just need to get better, whatever.
Right.
Anyways, and I did get better, and I got fucking awesome. But again, I think I had an innate ability. Like, I already have a musical background, whatever.
Right.
I'm not necessarily everyone can do that, but I did get lucky, and I do put myself out there, and I do the work behind the scenes and make the connections and do this. And I ended up getting involved in this like DJ troupe kind of thing, and there was like 7 of us. It was like they were looking for a girl. It's also right place, right time.
Yeah.
I did a job in this one club, and they were like, "Oh, she's really got something, that kid," And then like the guy comes over and he's like, "Hey, I'm looking for someone to join my thingy. We need a female." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I've been DJing for fucking 12 years. Like, what's up?" So then like join that thing completely. I'm always out of my ranks. I'm out of my ranks everywhere. I'm out of my ranks in fucking comedy. I'm out of my ranks fucking everywhere. But I'm the guy. I don't know.
Right. But fortune favors the bold, right? So and then like you hear people in smaller circles go, "Oh man, Sarah's so lucky," but it's because Sarah's out there doing the work. Sarah's out there networking. Sarah's out there meeting people. Sarah's got like.
Also, I watched a video. Some random guy on Instagram sent me a video the other day. Please stop sending me videos, guys. But this video, I watched it and I was like, oh, this is actually like moved me to tears, because it's like this whole overnight success. There's no such thing as a fucking overnight success. Behind that overnight success is 20 years of hard fucking work.
Yeah, you doubled it. I usually say 10.
Well, it's 10, but it is. It's normally 10, but 10 doesn't seem like a lot now.
No.
So yeah, I was lucky in the sense that, right place, right time, whatever. But you're put into the right place, right time by XYZ process leading up to that. Totally. And the only reason I could DJ is because I fucking spent 12 years on a piano.
Right.
And the only reason I could do this, you know what I mean? The only reason I could do comedy is I spent 12 years doing public speaking since I was fucking 6, and my mum was a speech and drama teacher.
Right.
So for my entire life, that's been my life. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's an overnight success, or I'm doing really well in comedy, but it's a not collaboration. It's a you know what I mean? It's years and years and years of other shit that has built up to this moment.
Right.
Nobody got on stage and was like, oh, fucking, Bert Kreischer just asked me to open for him and I've done one mic. Never. You can get...
Never yet, until I write him a check.
Well, no, but he's not going to make you open for him. He's going to teach you stuff.
Maybe.
Well, unless he just throws you out there as a joke, because his family, he could do anything for his fans and they wouldn't care.
That might be funny to him, to bring some guy that just sucks, but I wouldn't be funny to me.
But you'd still do it.
I would. I don't know.
Why not? What were you gonna say? Did you what?
No, it ties into the first off mic story that I was gonna tell you. There's a lot of secrets happening today.
So many secrets.
It's a fucking interesting day. Let's just say that today's.
Well, how long are these off mic secrets gonna take? Because I gotta go.
About 4 minutes.
For 19. Show the page. There's 4 pages of stories here.
No, it's one off mic story times 2. I forgot this one and I forgot this one, but then I remember the first one, and then there's the Joe Rogan.
There's 19
off mic
stories. There's not going to be. It's not 4 minutes of stories.
Well, do you have to go? Because we're at close enough.
We're at 5, and I have to be at the store at 6, and I got to go home and shower and all that stuff. And I
Great. Thanks for watching the Safety Meeting Podcast, everybody.
We just finished like that.
That's it.
When is this coming out?
I just dropped one today, probably next Monday.
Okay. I am trying to do a Australian fundraiser fire thing. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out on my Instagram at the. When I say the, it sounds like V.
Your Instagram handle will be under your face.
Okay, cool. Great.
This whole time.
That's only if they go to the video, but if they're listening to the audio. But anyways, I'm trying to do a fundraiser thing.
Oh
for
yeah,
the
I canceled the audio part of the show.
So
both people, I killed them both. Just kidding. No, we're tracking.
Yeah, well, I look forward to part 2 when I fucking actually.
Thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it.
Sorry, I didn't realize how late it was.
And no, it's all good. I'm looking forward to round 2. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can get into your life story after we get this fundraiser going and put the fire out, and then we'll bring you back.
We gotta get the fire out, guys.
Yeah, and I look forward to producing your show.
Fuck yeah.
One day. Who winks at people? That's so creepy.
Oh,
Jesus.
The worst. The worst.
Thanks for watching, everybody. And shaky cameras.
Thanks, guys.
This is the part where I say bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.